You mentioned before that like knowing Arabic was kind of a big part of what ultimately got you the role here. And how important was it to you and the Ubisoft team there that Basim spoke the native language for a touch of authenticity, I suppose?
I think it plays a huge part. I mean, I don't know, like, what's the alternative in that sense? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
are you going to hire someone that can't do the accent, can't speak the language, but they're supposed to be from that time in that place, and
Fully know
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it was hugely important for authenticity, for sure. And also my own connection to being Middle Eastern, like, obviously brought an element of that, and my own struggles within, like, my identity around that. And funny enough, like, I had gone through a journey of self-loathing and resentment around that part of, like, I don't want to be Middle Eastern. I don't want to be this, like, due to racism or whatnot. And then throughout the last few years of my life was kind of finding that love again for, my background and my culture and the language. And about 7 months before I got the opportunity on Mirage, I started to relearn the language. Talking with my mom and going through, like, kind of grade level stuff at the beginning, you know what I mean? Like, relearning how to read and write. And then this opportunity came about, and it was like, oh my gosh, like, talk about serendipity, talk about, like, meant to be.
Of course. And
because had this opportunity come 7 months before, I wouldn't have been as confident. I would have been like, oh man, I don't know. Oh yes. Yeah, sure. Like, I can do the accent, but the Arabic speaking and stuff, I don't know. And it was really, really important that we have the language and authentic. I mean, more than anything, Baghdad, like I said, was a melting pot. So they had authentic, like, Chinese representation in the game, and Persian and Turkish and Roman and Greek. Like, if you pay attention, you'll hear some of those languages within the markets, within, like, different areas of Baghdad and the outskirts.
Yeah. Now, what I also think is cool about, getting you and others who, like, fully speak the language is translations can fail ultimately, I suppose. And we've seen that in Assassin's Creed, in the Ezio trilogy. Like, yes, Roger Craig Smith did a fantastic job and, fantastic accent. But then actually Italians have, translated what he says, and, like, that is not what he's saying.
Right.
One of my favorite games, I'm sure you've heard of, Grand Theft Auto 4, where the protagonist is Serbian. That was also an American actor they got, and, like, they speak Serbian, but then you actually look at it as, like, that is not, it's kind of what he's saying, but it's not fully what he's saying.
Right. It's like broken. It's a little bit broken. Yeah. It's like, so it's Serbian as a second language.
Add something to just have, fully native speakers, for sure.
Well, the challenge too with Arabic is that the region of the world that speaks is so vast, and the dialects change drastically depending on where you are in the world. So, like, my background is Lebanese, so the Lebanese dialect is quite different than, like, Egyptian dialect or Iraqi dialect or Saudi dialect. And so there is a generalized kind of Arabic, and it's more of like the older Arabic, which is what the game went for. So there were times where I was going through a challenge of, like, oh, okay, I need the context here. And fortunately, I'm blessed to have an amazing mom who was always willing to be like, okay, let's hop on a call. Let's go through these lines. And at times she'd be like, okay, this is really old. This is really old Arabic. But we'll figure it out together. So it was, again, like, kind of getting the opportunity to like, how cool, like, I never would have thought, hey, I'm working on a video game, getting help from my mom. We're sitting actively kind of, fitting the pieces together of, like, oh, okay, this is the intent. This is what the words are. This is how they go together. Cool. And then we're off to the races. But like you said, I think context and translation really does matter. Because there would be times where, fortunately it would be like, okay, cool, here's the translation. It would be like, oh, hold on, that doesn't fit quite right. Here's what it probably should sound like. And then the team would be like, okay, cool, let's try that and see. And then okay, cool. Or you realize, oh, right, the intent behind it was wrong. Say it as written.